Hello everyone, welcome to Inspire with Prashant and thank you so much for your support so far, and we are again back with our vocab learning session. So this is vocab web series part 3. So we were not sure we'll be making part 3 or not, but why not when we understood that the vocab web series part 1 and part 2 has really been liked and a lot of students have learned so many words, and it was their feedback that they told us that the videos were very helpful. So before we really get on with our vocab web series part 3, I humbly request you to subscribe our channel, share the videos, and of course press the bell icon and be as updated as we would want you to be. Thank you so much. Let's get started. Vocab web series part 3, we will be doing, let's say, 10 set of words, 10 different families, and with these families again you can multiply words and remember more words, and these all are beautiful words. As I say, words are beautiful. You need to live with them, you need to be with them, and gradually they will start making place in your mind and in your heart, and then you will be able to use them for whole of your life, right? So vocabulary is one of the most important assets that one can have, a literary asset, as I say. So let's get started with this particular chapter, and as I told you, 10 different groups, 10 different families we will be doing, and let's see how it goes. So today's first chapter is going to be a very popular category, which is severe dislike or hatred. I call this antipathy. Of course, pathy is a root word for feelings, and anti, you all know anti is against. So what are the words that you can use for dislike? What are the words that you can use it for hatred? And then we really understand this entire family. You really see that so many words that you've seen here and there and you don't know. तो जब हम नफ़रत की बात करते हैं और जब हम बहुत ज़्यादा घृणा की बात करते हैं, तो ये सारे वर्ड्स हमको पता होना चाहिए. ठीक है, let's get started. I think A letter has itself a lot of words from this particular family. So antipathy, abominate, very important word. Another word which is very important, which is animosity. A top word which is abhor. Abhorrence is a very important. When you abhor something, you really hate it. And of course, antipathy. Now look at the beauty of words. Only with the letter A, for example, you have antipathy, you have abominate, you have animosity, and you have abhor. Already 4 words from the letter A, and that's how you actually do this family. Coming up with some other words, you do despise, you despise something, you detest things. Detestation is a top word when it comes to hatred. Of course, a lot of other words which are very famous, like repugnance, like rancor. The idea is all about hating anything. The idea is about anything which is word like ill will, hostility. So what a lovely word, hostile. When you have hostile feelings for something, what does that mean, right? The hostile, ill will, rancor, repugnance, detest, despise, abhor, animosity, abominate, right? Continuing with the words that we all have to remember. I would just put up a related word, which is antagonism. So guys, antagonism is not about hatred. This is about, let's say, these two drugs are antagonistic, or you say that, okay, how do I deal with this whole idea of antagonism, right? So antagonism is nothing but it is going against. So if the response is antagonistic, that means the response is against. So it's not purely hatred, but it is going against. So you should know this word separately. But we were talking about hatred. This is not about hatred, but this is definitely about almost a mild version of it. It is going against, antagonistic. So हम कहते हैं कि the antagonistic reviews are there as far as his painting is concerned. So if his paintings are getting antagonistic response, that means the response is opposite, right? So one of the first families, I haven't did a lot of words related to hatred, but I've given you, a sample 8-9 words which are very, very important. I repeat: antipathy, abominate, animosity. Guys, animosity is a very important word. Animosity in relationships, you understand that, right? Abhor, you saw, despise, despicable. So he's a despicable criminal, or this crime is despicable. That means, it deserves a lot of hatred. Detestation, then you have word repugnant, repugnance. When you hate something, you are repugnant to it. Rancorous or rancor. Ill will, hostility, of course, amity is friendship. So enmity. What a lovely word, enmity. So when you have an enmity for something, you hate that thing, right? And possibly, if you remember all these words, let's say with the last word, loathing. We say loathing, is bad in relationships. Loathing is bad for this and that. So loathe, enmity, hostility, ill will, rancor, repugnance. I've given you, one of the first chapters of, the 10 chapters you're going to do. Remember the words which are related to hatred, right? Severe dislike, and this category should be in your mind for as long as you would want them to be. Okay, moving on to the next chapter, we were talking about hatred, and let me see. Okay, a very important chapter, and this is very, very common. What are the words related to contradiction that you know? I mean, we all use contradictory statements. We all see contradictory situations, right? There is a lot of contradiction. So when it comes to contradiction, I want you to know a lot of words, right? And these words are super frequent in any entrances, GRE to CAT to any other. Do you know the words like irony? Do you know the words like paradox? Do you know the word like dichotomy? Do you know the word which means like to belie? Okay. Do you know the words like incongruity? When I talk about contradiction, what I mean to say is when things are inconsistent with each other, when things are going in opposite direction. And let's try to see. Now, if I use the word irony, what kind of a situation is this? There is a contradiction, and there are subtle differences in the meanings of these words. So if I say irony, I just want to say that this kind of a contradictory situation means that unexpected and contrary, right? So we see irony in various aspects of our life, right? If there was someone who is there to serve you and he robs you, now that's an irony, right? तो आयरनी ऑफ द सिचुएशन, या जिसे हम आयरॉनिकल सिचुएशन कहते हैं, विडंबना जिसे हम हिंदी में कहते हैं, अनएक्सपेक्टेड एंड कॉन्ट्ररी, राइट? पैराडॉक्स इज वन ऑफ द टॉप मोस्ट वर्ड्स, पैराडॉक्सिकल. What paradox actually means is it means to self contradictory. Irony was contradictory and unexpected and contradictory, but paradox is self-contradictory. Like what? Water everywhere, but nowhere to drink, right? So when you see this phrase, you understand, okay, there is a self-contradiction. So we again see a lot of paradoxical situations. Dichotomy is nothing but when there is a dichotomy in the situation, things are going in opposite direction, right? Incongruity, because congruity means harmony. So it is not super contradiction, it is not pure contradiction, but it is in harmony. Again, things are either contradictory or inconsistent, right? So remember the word incongruity, right? In harmony, things cannot coexist or be consistent. There is an incongruity in the situation. Belie is one of the topmost words. This means directly to contradict. So if one thing is belying the other, that means it is contradicting. That means that it is giving a false impression of the other, right? So belie is to contradict, incongruity. And I give you another word which you should all know, like 3 words in your reading comprehensions, right? Dichotomy, incongruity, and please remember the word discrepancy. So if you see discrepancy, if you see inconsistency, so if there is a contradictory situation given in the passage or in any reading comprehension. Then the question comes to you, which of the following option can help resolve the incongruity, resolve the inconsistency, discrepancy or paradox given in the. So you should know that how to understand this whole funda of, you know, contradiction as a concept. This is absolutely important. So I repeat, irony, paradox, dichotomy, belie and incongruity. All these words mean nothing but a contradictory situation. Yes, if it is irony, it is unexpected and contrary. If it is paradox, it is self-contradictory. So remember this, one of my all-time favorite families, contradiction, and various nuances, various shades of contradictions, right? So, you know, these were the first two chapters. Moving on to the third chapter, we have to do 10. Be with me, this is the third one. Moving on to the next one is, oh yes, I mean, you know, we talk about various, India is all about fasting. India is all about giving up your food on certain religious occasions or giving up, let's say, alcohol on some religious occasions. So the idea is, when you give up on pleasures, when you give up on, you know, your food and drink and anything, right? So when you say I would not do this, or when you say I withhold from participation, then the whole family and the title chapter comes out to be the word like abstain, right? So when you abstain, when you refrain, please remember these words. So you say Navratri aa rahi hai and I'll now refrain from, let's say, meat and alcohol, or I would abstain. Now these are the basic words. Now that's what the family tells you. What are the other words which are going in the same direction, right? So you have the words like abstinence, you have the word like abnegation, right? You have the word like abstemious, isn't it? So the idea is, what is happening in these words? The idea is you are in a mode of not participating or denying something, right? Like if I say abnegation, so abnegation is for monks. What monks do? Self-denial, right? What is abstinence? You know, giving up on pleasures and luxuries. Same thing goes with abstemious, is for specifically food and drink, right? So, you know, when you abstain, when you refrain, right, what lovely family, you know, you actually withhold from participation. So you practice abstinence, you practice abnegation, you become abstemious, right? So I think not many words in this family, but all these words are very, very critical for your success in any of the entrance or in general also. So when you abstain, when you refrain, you actually, let's say you give up on food and drink, you become abstemious, right? You start practicing self-denial, that is abstemious. You abstain from, you know, in general luxuries and pleasures, you start practicing abstinence. So remember these words, and of course there can be so many words where you withhold from participation, and that would, let's say, giving you an example, you say I would be giving up on now all the life's pleasures and I live a simple life, I live a harsh life. Then you become ascetic, then you become austere. So look at these words, ascetic and austere. So यहाँ पे इन words में you abstain from life's luxuries or pleasures. So when you practice austerity, you practice a very simple and very severe and harsh life, because, you know, austerity means no luxury, no pleasure, and that's how the monks live. So just remember ascetic and austere separately. That means, you know, refraining from pleasures and luxuries. That makes you ascetic and austere. And in general, abstain, refrain, abstinence, abnegation, abstemious. So important. And the idea is to withhold from participation, food, drink, pleasures. So that's how our third chapter gets over, and it was related to, you know, withholding, you know, participation from luxuries, food and drink and whatever, right? So whenever you have your fast, whenever you have your, you know, Navratras or festival, maybe you might want to recall these words, right? Our next family, which is the fourth chapter of Vocab web series part 3, is a very nice taste family. I have seen in GRE particularly, you should know the words which relate to taste. You eat something, what happens? I mean, you eat something, you say it's very tasty, it's good in taste. You say it's bad in taste, or you say it has no taste whatsoever. And then, so what's wrong having words which relates to taste and the whole funda of thing. So guys, good in taste, bad in taste. Let's get done with this. And for good in taste, what you have been using the words just like yummy, right, which everybody knows. So you stop using such words and use better words for something which is really good in taste, right? I think you might be having certain idea of the words like palatable. You might be knowing words like relishing. You might be knowing words like savory. You know the word like sapid. Of course, not very frequent, but people also use the word like toothsome. So listen to these. See these words: toothsome, sapid, savory, relishing. You use the word delicious, but you can use the word delectable. You can use the word luscious. So guys, it is very important for all of you to remember words like palatable, relishing, savory, sapid, toothsome, delectable and luscious. Good in taste. So the moment you find the food very good in taste, remember these words. However, there is a certain warning with the word which is relish, and there is a certain warning with the word savor. Relish and savor in general, these are the words which would relate to nothing but anything that you enjoy, anything that you delight, right? Let's say you get a great GRE score of 325. So you can say that I am relishing my 325 GRE score. So whenever you relish anything, whenever you savor anything, you enjoy that, right? So it's a broad word. Yahan pe you are enjoying food, right? Otherwise you can enjoy anything, and that's very important for the word like relish and for the word like savor. You savor your victory, you savor your triumph. That's how you use them. So this is good in taste. Now what is the bad in taste or dull in taste? You should know the word like insipid. You should know the words like vapid. You should know the word like bland. Not many words, very simple. Unpalatable to hum kehte hi hain, right? But if something is really bad in taste or dull in taste, use the word insipid, vapid and bland. And insipid as a word, right? It is also anything which you find dull. Anything which is dull can be termed as insipid, but it is specifically used for food also. So insipid, vapid and bland. What is this? What kind of food it is? Come on. Dull in taste, right? And then bitter in taste. What is bitter in taste? Acrid, acerbic and acrimonious. Now guys, it's in special family. Bitter in taste. Now you know that भाषा भी कड़वी हो सकती है, व्यवहार भी कड़वा हो सकता है. तो हम acrid, acerbic, आप अगर करेला खाएंगे तो वो acerbic होगा, right? So we know that bitter gourd, what is the word that we use is okay, it is acrid and acerbic. People don't like it because of its acerbic taste. But you should know acrid, acidulous and acrimonious. So bitter sometimes for the language also, sometimes for the feelings also. Acrimonious, feelings full of acrimony, right? So when your feelings are full of acrimony, they're full of bitterness. And what bitterness and then the dislike and the hatred goes in the same direction. So acrimony can also be in the hatred family, which we just did at the beginning of the chapter. So remember these words which would be related to bitter in taste. I am making next move. Another words which would relate to, आप प्याज खाते हो, right? How the onions going to taste? Or garlic, they have pungent taste. Now pungency and pungent means what? They mean sharp in taste or smell. So when anything is tasting very sharp and it is like, very pungent, right? Then you know that onions and garlics and all these pickles, for example, they're very pungent in nature because their taste is very sharp or smell is very sharp, right? So add pungent also. Now pungent can be behavior, not very frequently, but sometimes it's used. But yes, for behavior or language, acrimony and bitter वाले जो words हैं वो use किए जाते हैं. Then there is another word in the same family. It is known as gustatory. So gustatory means particularly gustatory. So lovely word. Gustatory can be the one basic word for the entire family pertaining to the sense of taste or smell. Gustatory is जैसे you say kitchen में खाना बन रहा है and then you say that my gustatory senses are awake. आपने उसकी खुशबू ली. आप कहते हैं कि dog के gustatory senses are very sharp, right? So gustatory means pertaining to the sense of taste or smell, right? So remember gustatory. So guys, palatable, relishing, savory, sapid, all these lovely words, they will tell you what is the funda of taste. Dull in taste, bad in taste, good in taste, bitter in taste, and all these words. So I hope you understood the whole family which relates to good in taste, bad in entire taste family, right? Moving ahead with the next set of words, which is the fifth family. And we have to do 10, so be with me again. This is a very interesting family. We've heard these words for old sayings. Sayings तो आप समझते ही हैं, जो पुरानी कहावतें हैं, लोकोक्तियाँ जिसे हम कहते हैं, right? तो जो कहावतें होती थी, जो मुहावरे होते थे, जो sayings होती थी, wise old sayings होती थी, उनके लिए क्या words हमको आने चाहिए? और हमको आने चाहिए words like adage. ऐसे ही बहुत सारे words हैं. Words like apothegm, words like aphorism, words like axiom, words like maxim. Guys, these are the words that people use for old sayings, right? If you say that what is an adage, बोलते हैं ना, there is an old adage, पुरानी बात है, पुरानी कहावत है. Apothegms, so these are wise pithy sayings, not pity but pithy, concise sayings, aphorism, top word. Axiom का मतलब होता है वही savings, but उसको कहते कैसे हैं? Self evident. If anything is axiomatic, guys, this is very important. Axiom means self evident or self evident truth. And if somebody is saying, what do you mean by axiomatic? That means you don't need any evidence to prove it because it's obvious, it is self-evident, right? So remember axiom, and in GRE, one of the top 100 words you need to remember a word like axiomatic. It is super important, so don't forget axiomatic, for a fair stretch. So axiomatic, आपने देखा, axiom समझ गए, self-evident. Aphorism is something that you understood, apothegm, adage you understood, and maxim. All these words are all about wise sayings. Super important. I repeat, old sayings, wise sayings. And A से ही हमारे पास इसके 4 words हैं, which is adage, aphorism, apothegm, and maxim. Maxim is also a very important word. So you should remember these words which would be related to wise sayings, but you need to pay an additional emphasis on the word which is axiom. So axiom is self-evident truth, and anything axiomatic is self-evident. So don't forget this, right? So moving on to the next chapter of our vocab web series, part 3, and this chapter relates to beauty. And you all use this word beauty or beautiful. You go to a great location and you say, what a beautiful location. What a natural and beautiful location. So the title has to be any word which relates to beauty. The first word that you will be using is picturesque. Now guys, picturesque location is the best way to remember this word. Picturesque is beautiful. Picturesque location is beautiful. ठीक है? Second, you have this lovely word. Any word that you want to use for beauty is pulchritude. Now, pulchritude is beauty. Just say pulchritude of the nature is awe-inspiring. So when you say, what do you mean by the word pulchritude? It's just beauty. You say picturesque, beautiful location. And then what is the another word which would be related to beauty? It's science of aesthetics. So aesthetics is science of beauty. So aesthetic is science of beauty. Somebody who has an understanding of beauty and art is aesthete. Look at the word. So I'm telling you, so beauty is a broad word, but you should know picturesque means beautiful, pulchritude means beauty, and aesthetics is science of beauty. And of course, somebody who has an idea or an understanding of the beauty and the art, then the word is aesthete, right? So small family, but very important again, because some people don't know what is aesthetics. You know, we say we want to build an aesthetic body. Why do we go to gym? To come in the shape, but to say it other way, I want an aesthete body. I want an aesthetic body. That means very pleasing to eyes, beautiful, right? And that's how it works out, right? So beauty was the another chapter. Next chapter is super important. You know, what is the most important word in our life? Our skills. I mean, your skills will help you, you know, build a great profession. Your skills will allow you to contribute to the community that you are into. So what are the words for you? Very skillful, you know, and specifically in manual terms, you know. So what are the words if you're a very skilled painter, if you're a very skilled person? So when it comes to skill, you have to remember these words. The top word is adroit. Somebody who is adroit is very skilled. Now these are the very, very important words for anybody who is skilled. चाहे हम उसको एप्ट बोलें, चाहे हम उसको वर्चुसो बोलें, राइट? चाहे हम वर्चुसो, राइट? Dexterous. What are these words? These are words for the people who are really, really skilled in their own ways, right? अब जैसे हम adroit बोलते हैं, apt बोलते हैं. Virtuoso is specifically skilled in terms of, you know, art. तो that is why virtuoso painter कहते हैं, virtuoso pianist कहते हैं, and that whole skill thing is virtuosity. He displayed amazing virtuosity while playing piano, right? Dexterity is a top word for a skill, and if you are skilled with both hands, you know, people call it you as ambidextrous, right? Ambidextrous. So ये words हैं for skill, and then at the same time virtuoso is a top most word. I just warn you not to get confused with virtuoso and virtuous. So virtuous is morally high. If you remember earlier, you know, videos, we talked about when you're morally, you know, good or morally high, then you use the word virtue itself, and virtue word relates to, you know, being morally. Virtue is about morals, right? So that is why virtuous, virtuoso and virtuous. Please make sure that you don't get confused, right? And people who are skilled are these words. And then there is a very lovely word which is finis. Now finis is delicate skill. There are a lot of words which would be related to skill, right? But finis is a word which would be related to delicate skill. It's in skill but delicate. Like, you know, he played the late cut. Cricket में होता है ना late cut. He played the late cut with great finis. Anything that you do with delicate skill, there is a word called as finis. Otherwise, I think these are enough words when it comes to, you know, people who are really skilled in their own ways. And again, another confusion, EPT should not be confused with APT. That is apt. Now this is appropriate. What an apt remark, what an apt response. So this is for APT. So this APT is all about, you know, an EPT. So APT is appropriate. This is skill. So make sure that apt, and then virtuoso and virtuous. This confusion should not be there with you guys. So this is the skill family that we had to do. Moving on to the, you know, next chapter, which is the 8th chapter. Again, not many words here too, but very, very important. You know, we sit with friends, and specifically boys, and then they are sitting having a good relaxing time, and you know, friends do to each other. Friends tease each other. They don't want to fight, and that doesn't mean that they hate each other, but there is a playful teasing between friends. What are the words for playful teasing? And in that context, you know that was a banter. It's a pretty much British sort of word. When you say that there is a banter between friends, that means it's playful teasing. हम एक दूसरे को छीलते हैं, मस्ती करते हैं एक दूसरे के साथ. So हम कुछ नीचा नहीं दिखाना चाहते, या हम नफरत नहीं कर रहे, बट वो एक टीजिंग है, राइट? और इसीलिए उस तरह की टीजिंग के लिए द वर्ड्स लाइक बैंडी, बेंटर, badinage, right? Being very playful, so being very, you know, quizzical with our friends. So जब आप quizzical होते हैं, badinage की बात होती है, bandy होता है, banter होता है, So all these words are, they are related to being, you know, in a playful teasing mode with your friends or anyone, right? So playful teasing is your, you know, probably the title. So banter, bandy, badinage, quizzical, right? All these words talk about very important funda of playful teasing. You know, you should remember that it is not literal hostility or a bad remark. It is just a teasing, playful teasing, right? So banter, bandy, badinage, quizzical. Never ever forget these words. And that's how we move on to our next family, which is probably the 9th one of the day. And we are talking about second last category of this particular chapter, Vocab Web Series Part 3. And this is a very important family, guys. This is about, do you know all the words which would be related to harmful, right? What are the words? You use this word on daily basis. This substance is very harmful, junk food is very harmful. But harmful is such a common word, right? You know, we can use so many other top words, and one of the commonest words that we all use is the word hazardous. We use the word deleterious. We use the word detrimental. How lovely it is. So we use the word hazardous, we use the word deleterious, we use the word detrimental. So important. Cannot afford to forget the importance of these words. They all three mean something which is harmful, right? Continuing with this whole harmful wala family, nocent, you know the word, noctuous, right? Then whole P series for words related to harmful, pestilential, right? The words like parlous, the word like perilous, pestiferous. You know, when you talk about the whole family of, anything which is harmful, these are the words, malignant, right? The word virulent. So we are talking about harmful as a word. So we say this virus is, it's not really virulent. This bacteria is not virulent. So it's not going to cause any harm. This tumor is malignant. It'll have a malign effect. That means it's going to harm, right? It is pestiferous. Perilous is directly dangerous, because peril is a word for danger. So आज के बाद अपनी लाइफ में danger की जगह क्या यूज करना? The word peril यूज करना. So perilous is dangerous. Parlous तो आप समझ ही गए हैं. Pestilential आप समझ गए हैं. Noctuous, nocent, detrimental, deleterious and hazardous. All these words are nothing but harmful, right? And if you don't remember the words like detrimental, deleterious, right, nocent, because nocent and noctuous, I think you all have heard the antonymous side of the word innocent, right? Now innocent and innocuous, right? What is the difference? So innocuous and innocent is harmless. So you say that this innocent looking person cannot murder someone. Innocent is harmless. It was assumed that he is innocent or he is proven innocent. That means he is proven harmless. He hasn't harmed anyone. So remember nocent, remember noctuous, and they are antonymous to innocent and innocuous. So the whole harmful family, there's so many words which would be related to harmful, but I think detrimental, deleterious, hazardous, they come in the exam very frequently. The whole P series which talks about pestilential, pestiferous, malignant is very important. And to give you the opposite side of malignant, there are two types of tumor. One is a malignant tumor and the opposite side is the benign tumor. So benign is another word for harmless. If there is a benign tumor in your body, let it be. It'll not going to cause any harm to your body. But if it's a malignant, you got to operate it, right? So harmful is the title of category. Of course, perilous, we use the concept of dangerous, and remember this entire category of words for the concept of harmful, right? Moving on to the next set of words, which is our final chapter, Vocab Web Series Part 3. We are coming to an end, and I hope that all these words and all these 3 series that we have done, it helps you do lot of words, right? We might come up with many other words in coming videos, but we will not be making such long videos, right? We would be making smaller videos, but then it will again be super useful for all of you. Finish this vocab web series part 3, and the chapter is nothing but a very interesting. How many of you understand this word flattery? What do you mean by the word flattery? So आप कहते हैं कि सर आज जम रहे हो राइट, और आपको एक्चुअली चाय पीना है सर से राइट, या आप कहते हैं कि यू नो आई हैव टू प्रेज दिस पर्सन टू गेट माई वर्क डन, इजंट इट? सो यू नो एंड और इफ़ यू वांट अ प्रमोशन, सो एक होती है फ्लैटरी बिल्कुल वो नाक रगड़ने वाली राइट, उसकी कैटेगरी हमने पहले करी है, विच इज़ साइकोफेंसी, वो अलग है, वो फ्लैटरी अलग है. दिस पर्टिकुलर वर्ड फॉर फ्लैटरी इज जस्ट बेसिक फ्लैटरी. And you want to get your work done. You're praising, not just real praising, but you want to get your work done. Don't forget the word like coax. Don't forget the word like cajole, right? Cajolery, right? Don't forget the word like blandishment. Don't forget the word like adulation, excessive flattery. So adulation is excessive flattery, right? Don't forget the words like inveigle, right? So inveigle, adulation, blandishment, coax, cajole, all these words mean flattery. Of course there is a flattery where you would literally lick the boot of that individual. You become a boot licker. Now that kind of flattery is psychophancy. So that is the highest level of flattery, which is boot licker. You become a boot licker. इनमें boot licking तो नहीं है, but flattery है. Basic flattery is the usage. So inveigle, adulation, blandishment, coax and cajole, right? You are doing flattery. आप बोल सकते हैं that despite the shopkeeper's blandishments, you did not buy anything. He really tried flattering you. Okay, this looks good on you, but you did not buy anything. So blandishments or cajolery or coaxing or inveigling or adulation is excessive flattery, excessive praise. So remember the concept of flattery. So this was the vocab web series part 3, guys. We did 10 wonderful chapters and I'm sure you all have learned so many words. Keep seeing this video again and again, and the good thing is in the description you can see the tags, so you can directly go to that particular click on that tag and you can directly go to that particular portion of the video or portion of the category. So thank you so much. Inspired with Prashant needs your love, blessings and support. Please subscribe to our channel, share it and press the bell icon and like it, and hope to see you in next videos, and we continue to build this wonderful community of where we inspire each other. Thank you so much, guys.